866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
People of the world, I am Chef Wes Andres, and I'm here with an important message. I'm speaking to you from downtown Quezon. As tonight gets dark, people are gonna go to their homes without electricity, without water, and very often without much food to eat. This winter is gonna be brutal not only for the people of Quezon, but for many, many Ukrainians all across Ukraine, but especially in the places that they've been recently liberated near the front lines. The people of Ukraine right now are fighting for freedom. We're here with a very simple ask. World Central Kitchen will be able to keep doing the work we've been doing over the last 8-9 months with your support, with your help together. I know we will not leave the people of Ukraine alone.
Donate now at WCK.org.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I hope everyone's had a great day. Mr. Kev Nash, happy Tuesday.
What up, dog?
Off and rolling. We were just talking about how we have all this free time during the day.
Goodness gracious. And that's starting to bleed over into my personal life at home. I was just telling you off air. Yesterday, on my drive home from work, I was talking to my mom, and I'm a mama's boy, so I talk to my mom multiple times a day. But it just so happened that I didn't talk to my mom since Saturday. So it was an extended conversation, just yapping it up. So I get home, I'm still yapping it up. And then I realize, oh, the wife isn't home. Oh, that means it's my turn to cook dinner. So I had to spark up the air fryer, do all that. And then like, oh, we watch a show that comes on at 8 o'clock. Oh, I still need to pack my lunch. Oh, I still need to take a shower. Oh, I still need to pick something out to wear to work tomorrow. Oh, I have no time.
Got time?
Got time?
No time.
No time for nothing.
There's just.
And then this morning, I'm coming to the station. You text me, and I'm like, hopefully it's about to pick those banners up for the Air Force Museum. So I was actually about to make the exit to go over there. And then he was like, no, it's something else. So I was like, oh, goodness, because I had a 9 o'clock meeting.
The old car trouble. He had to bring the old Hot 1029 Hummer into a local speedway to jump my car. So there was that. But
it was a good look.
It was. I mean, the Hot 1029 Hummer just here to save the day. I was like, you still drive a Hummer? Yes. I'm surprised the Hummer still works.
It's the only one that still does.
Yep. That's our ESPN car. It's everything. Anyways, happy Tuesday. A lot to get into today. So I want to open up with this. Look, I don't know the last time that the Pro Bowl was necessarily relevant, but at least you felt like being named to the Pro Bowl was still a distinct honor. I talk with Keith Byers about this all the time. Keith Byers is a former Pro Bowl running back, and he talked about back in the day how, I mean, that was a legitimate game. I mean, that was a tough week. He said it was a full week of practice. It was preparation. You learning the offense. I mean, you were getting hit hard, and he was lowering his shoulder to barrel over people too, and everything. And it meant something back then. And to be honest, I understand why it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot to people right now with all the money on the line and with injuries and everything else along those lines. But at the same time, you have that money because of the sport that you're playing, because of the league that you play in. And I feel like it's disrespectful to opt out of this thing if you don't have a health reason. Now, I'm going to hold off on my opinion on whether Joe Burrow has a health thing or not, but there's no been reports. I mean, is Joe Burrow too good to play in the Pro Bowl? I mean, my goodness, do what everyone else does that doesn't. I mean, do you think anyone else that's going to play in this Pro Bowl, Kev, is showing up to take it serious, to, man, I got to throw for 300 yards this game. Man, if I don't get a touchdown, I'm going to be pissed. If I don't touch the ball at least 12 times, I'm going to be upset. Go and it just drives me crazy. Maybe if it was another, now you all say, no, you're just doing this because it's Joe Burrow. No, originally I thought Josh Allen, I had read that he had just opted out. I didn't realize he had opted out for a health complication. I didn't realize it was a health reason. So no, I was annoyed with Josh Allen, but come to find out, Josh Allen has a real health issue as to why he's opting out, doesn't want to further damaging this. But Burrow, he's not going to participate in the Pro Bowl game, Kevin. Now you're getting a bunch of weird names on this Pro Bowl list that it's like, I feel like this is being forced. And Tyler Huntley, the Ravens backup quarterback. who, by the way, is not the worst backup quarterback in the world, but this is an offense that does not exist when Lamar Jackson is not there. He threw 2 touchdowns in 6 games, and he started in 4 of those. And I know he outplayed Joe Burrow in the Pro Bowl, so maybe that's why he outplayed Joe Burrow in that wild card game. Maybe that's why he got the Pro Bowl nod. I don't know. But, Kev, this is going to sound disrespectful to Tyler Huntley, but he is not a Pro Bowl quarterback. Like, what are we doing here? But that's where we're at. I don't know if I'm more alarmed by the names that are being forced into the Pro Bowl or the names that are opting out just to opt out. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he's playing in the Super Bowl, but Derek Carr is a Pro Bowler. Trevor Lawrence is a Pro Bowler. And Tyler Huntley is a Pro Bowler. I find that odd.
Yeah, it's definitely odd. I mean, a backup quarterback that only played 6 games made the Pro Bowl. It isn't like Kurt Warner when he made the Pro Bowl because he was technically a backup when he took over for the Rams on the fastest show on turf days. Green was their starting quarterback when that all went down. But for me, it's as simple as this, man. Respect KB, respect all the former players from the 80s and early 90s and everything like that. It just ain't what it is. It just ain't what it used to be. And at some point, we have to all come to grips with that the Pro Bowl is no more. The Pro Bowl is, it's a flag football game now. And the only reason it goes on now is because we as football fans still going to watch it. I mean, preseason still gets crazy ratings. Pro Bowl is going to get crazy ratings. I mean, Pro Bowl is going to do better numbers than a regular season game in the NBA with the Lakers and Celtics, which is maddening to me, which is crazy. But that's what we are in this country. We love football. The game shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't. Just like same thing with probably Major League Baseball. They try to tweak it with this game means something about home field advantage. Look, man, it's just not the same. It's not yesteryear anymore. So I think it's up to the league and the players union to come up with something else. It's just not going to happen. People don't watch it. Well, people watch it, but it's not entertaining because the only thing we do is when guys back out, we complain, or you should have the honor. You should respect it. You should go and play, yada, yada. It just doesn't matter. It just simply doesn't matter. People just don't care about it. Well, the players simply just don't care about it. And part of the reason they don't care about it is because they as players know that, hey, man, the only thing that really matters is winning the Super Bowl. And slowly but surely, we talked about this before, the NBA mindset is creeping in to the NFL, where if you don't end the season hoisting a Lombardi, your season was a dud. No matter if you're Trevor Lawrence, you're Joe Burrow, Tyler Huntley, Lamar Jackson, whoever, name your quarterback from your favorite team. If you're not hoisting that Lombardi, your season was a failure. And if people from the 80s and 90s want to talk about like, oh, man, the Pro Bowl used to mean something. Well, some of those regular season games used to mean something. Beating your rival used to mean something. Winning your division used to mean something. Now we hear the phrase, especially from Jalen Ramsey, where another team wins their division and have fun with those T-shirts because that's what you get. You get a T-shirt. So the only thing that matters is winning the Super Bowl. So if the only thing that matters is winning the Super Bowl, why play this game?
Nope. And it's like one of those things where I get both sides to it. I'm not arguing that the Pro Bowl is this just admirable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but at the same time, it still exists. And I find it laughable that Joe Burrow thinks he is too good to play in this Pro Bowl game, or at least be a part of the Pro Bowl festivities. Josh Allen is not participating, and he would if he was healthy. He did last season. I mean, the bottom line is like these guys still participate in it, and they still are limited in it too. They still say, hey, we'll participate because, keep in mind, the Pro Bowl, you're voted in by fans and by, other players and team and media personnel, all that stuff. You're still voted in by the fans. And I think the fact that Joe Burrow voted in and just says, no, I'm still going to pout because I threw 2 interceptions and wasn't good enough to beat Patrick Mahomes in Burrowhead. I have a huge problem with that. I'm not arguing that the Pro Bowl is this like amazing thing anymore. I think that they need to get rid of it to prevent these types of storylines from coming out, because Burrow is my villain because the Pro Bowl exists. Get rid of the Pro Bowl and we don't have to do this song and dance. Tyler Huntley will get to tell his kids and grandkids, which is a great thing for him. I'm not anti Tyler Huntley. I'm just using him as his stats. Okay. Not the person, the stats. The stats are not Pro Bowl worthy. And I think that, to be honest, I don't know what makes the NFL look worse, that a guy like Joe Burrow says, no, I'm too good for it, or that Tyler Huntley played in 6 games, started in 4, only threw 2 touchdowns as a Pro Bowl quarterback. I don't know which one looks worse for the league.
That's worse.
But that's a product of the Joe Burrows of the world thinking they're too good for this. Not a fan of it. Here's the other thing. If I'm going to go even make this weird. Jacoby Brissett. Remember yesterday we talked about, I think that teams have reputations and that teams, if you're not a liked team, if you're not a liked organization, you cannot convince me that Tyler Huntley was more deserving of a Pro Bowl appearance than Jacoby Brissett. When you think about what Jacoby Brissett did for the Cleveland Browns, I know that they weren't a 500 football team when Deshaun Watson came back from suspension, but you got to think that the only reason that the Browns were still in a playoff situation, or at least within playoff distance, was because of the job that he did. A lot of the Browns' issues this year weren't quarterback related. In fact, the offensive numbers were, better when he was at quarterback. I'm not saying he was a better quarterback, but the offensive numbers were better. It was the defense and the defensive issues. Out of everything, Kev, yes, I'm annoyed with Joe Burrow not doing it because, yes, it's Joe Burrow and I can't stand everything the guy does and apparently doesn't do. But the Tyler Huntley thing, I can't get over, because if you're going to use a backup quarterback that played 6 and started 4, why not use the guy that actually had a very, very good, efficient season in Jacoby Brissett? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely. You're right. But I mean, it's just as simple as this, man. Joe Burrow was selected as a backup. He said no. The alternates were Tua, he's dealing with a concussion. Herbert, no, he had surgery. Jackson, obviously, he's not going to be playing. Then they went to Allen. He's not playing. It's kind of almost like the college football playoff when everybody and their mom was complaining about Ohio State getting the 4th spot. Well, who else you going to put in there?
Yep.
Like, you got to put somebody in there. You got to have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. It's just, hey, Tyler Huntley, it's your day. You're up. And like you said, he's going to be able to tell his kids one day, yeah, this season I was a Pro Bowler. Look at my stats. Crazy, right? Hey, it is what it is. I got that bonus check, and that's what paid for this house.
Yep.
So kudos to him. NFL, this is the time. If this isn't the mark where you reevaluate the Pro Bowl and see if it's necessary, they started the NFL honors, which I actually like. I like that a lot better than watching a game where you don't tackle. I mean, they weren't tackling before. They were thudding, and the whistle were blowing. Like, you weren't really allowed to take players to the ground. The person that you really can blame for the Pro Bowl exodus is RIP to the late, great Sean Taylor. Remember, Sean Taylor laid out that punter on the fake punt on the sidelines.
Should have been standing there.
After that, dudes was like, oh, he treating this like this is a Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm not playing anymore. This is supposed to be the Pro Bowl, man. It's supposed to tackle me. You're not supposed to blow me up. You're not supposed to try to injure me. So I think the only sport that really truly tries to play their all-star game is hockey and the NBA. I think those are the only 2 sports that really do it right. Now, I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world. One of the reasons I don't like MLB All-Star is because every team gets an All-Star. Well, every team doesn't deserve an All-Star. And then the NBA is the fans get a heavy vote. The players get a heavy vote. I mean, Chet Holmgren got votes to be an all-star this year. He hasn't even played because he's out with injury. So that's a little wonky, but the NHL, they make a big deal of it and it's pretty cool. And that's like one of the only things that I watch from the NHL is All-Star Weekend, and I'll chime in and out on the Stanley Cup. But those things are cool. The NFL Pro Bowl is not cool.
Yeah, definitely not anymore. And definitely I'm 33. I know you're a little older, but it's still, the Pro Bowl meant something even when we were younger. And again, not arguing that it should mean something to these athletes now, but it still exists. They were voted in upon the fans, among teammates and others. And then maybe this is Joe Burrow's way of doing what the Bengals have been doing. Oh, the NFL's been out to get us all season, so forget. No, I'm gonna turn it down. No thanks, but no thanks, deuces, and off we go. Whatever. I mean, just maybe they should name the Pro Bowl after Joe Burrow. They call it the Joe Bowl, and maybe he'll show up. I'm not sure, but nonetheless. So yes, Ron says let me make sure people can read these. We're live on Facebook, by the way. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, jump in the conversation. Ron Howard says, didn't a player screw his knee up in one of these events in the sand?
I do remember that. He was the running back for the San Francisco 49ers. I think his name was Gerst or Garris or something like that. He played running back at Georgia.
So yes, and by the way, I'm again not supportive. And I've said this a while back too. Be named to the Pro Bowl. Don't have these games. Don't have events. Just let it be named like first team, blah blah blah, second team, but like the NBA. They have that now. They still have their All-Star game. Right. But like I said, I've always felt like other sports, for instance, Major League Baseball. My big problem with the baseball All-Star game is the fact that you could be labeled an All-Star for an entire season for 2 months of work. or for 2.5 months of work. That's what I don't like. Like, so baseball is a long, grueling season. And if you have a very hot 2.5 month start to a season, you're named an all-star, and then you could be bummed the rest of the way, and you're still going to be remembered for being an all-star that season. And that's, and by the way, contract incentives, which good for them, get paid. But like, it just sometimes to me, the purpose of all-star games, they're not what we think it is. It's just about money making opportunities for the leagues. That's what this Pro Bowl event is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the NFL, they will die trying to make this thing work. They know it's not working, but what limited people do show up to these events, what limited people still tune into these is enough to make multi-million, to make millions of dollars for the NFL. It clearly, Kev, as bad as it's getting, it still hasn't hit the point where they don't find it financially beneficial to still put these games on
at all. And it's Robert Edwards who tore his knee up in that sand game in 1999.
So it was that far back.
Yeah.
What was the sand game?
It was
because they do these other events.
Yeah, they were just playing like sand football. He tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL.
Man, he got all the L's.
Yeah,
he got
big L, dude.
Brian Hetzel says Tyler Eifert hurt his ankle pretty bad in the Pro Bowl. It's a meaningless game. So stop with guys. I get it. I know what you're saying, but like, come on. Tom Brady plays in the Pro Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, if he hadn't on one leg beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals this past, he'd be playing in the Pro Bowl. I'm arguing two different things, and I get that, but like, Joe Burrow is the only one opting out of this thing that's not hurt. Like, the only reason Tyler Huntley's in is because what list of quarterbacks did it go through? It was a lot of guys are hurt. It went through a whole laundry list of guys. So in the AFC quarterbacks, Kev, are Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Huntley, and Derek Carr, who, by the way, isn't even on a team right now. Like, he was like, I guess he's with the Raiders technically, but you know what I mean? Like, so it's just interesting to me nonetheless. So that's who. So Derek Carr replaces Joe Burrow. Is that the name that he replaces? I believe. I think that's who replaced him. So but nonetheless, David Shaw says maybe if more players would opt out of these fake games, maybe they would stop having them. No one cares about it. Okay, well,
but people do.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing, because especially and now when they're taking it on the road. Remember, used to kind of be in Hawaii and everything like that. And I always liked it when it was in Hawaii and it was the week after the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl winners got treated like royalty when they were out there and everything like that. It was like a big deal that the Super Bowl champs were coming to play in a Pro Bowl. Now it's like that buffer week in between the Super Bowl and the bye week. So it just loses a little thrills because you're not getting the champs are here. The champs are showing up. And so you also got to think about it. Philadelphia has the most Pro Bowlers. I want to say they have 10 Pro Bowl players. So those are going to be replacements as well. So I'm with you. It just basically just needs to go away, but it never go away because they provide a product for the TV audience and people still watch it. So until people stop watching it, that'll make it go away. Players backing out won't make it go off of TV because we love football that much that we'll watch it. We got FanDuel, we got DraftKings. I'm sure there'll be some over-unders on there people will make money on. Is not going anywhere. So the best thing you can do as a fan, that if you like it or dislike it, is watch or not watch.
David Shaw says, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. You're telling me Josh Allen didn't turn it down? David paid attention. Shaw paid attention. He did turn it down because he was hurt. All the quarterbacks that turned it down are hurt. There's only one that turned it down that, to my knowledge, and is not hurt. He's just still pouting. I'm not really sure what his deal is. And last year, by the way, Patrick Mahomes played in the Pro Bowl when he was knocked out by the Bengals in the AFC Championship. He played it. Lamar Jackson played in the Pro Bowl. Justin Herbert in the Pro Bowl last year as well. So there's that. But nonetheless, either way, this is the most Pro Bowl talk that we will have on the show because, it is what it is. But last thing, so.
When Huntley backs out, guess who's getting in? Kenny Pickett, baby.
So I'm stealing your game here actually, I don't have $1 American. Oh, maybe I do. Hold on.
Okay. You got Cash App.
I got to save. So it's bowling tonight. I got to make sure I have some cash for the old bowling alley tonight for $1 American. Tyler Huntley, his 2 touchdown passes are the fewest touchdown passes for any quarterback who is selected to a Pro Bowl that same season. Who had the previous least amount of touchdowns thrown.
Wow.
To be selected to the Pro Bowl. This isn't fair because it goes all the way back to 1975.
Fran Tarkenton.
No, so there's Ken O'Brien.
10, from the Jets.
Mike Borila. Exactly. That's what people say about Tyler Huntley, years and years from now. He had 6, but Vince Young in 2009 was selected to the Pro Bowl, and he had 10. Thank goodness I get to keep my dollar.
How many rushing touchdowns VY had? Probably like 20.
Oofa. The Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. Earlier, talking about how there's just not a lot of time, not enough time. Well, there's only 3 hours in the show. There's not enough time to get to all the various sports topics in the world. So we're going to introduce a segment of the show called The Hurry Up. Kev Nash is The Hurry Up coming up on the other side. We'll also get into some more NFL college football discussions as well. Cardell Jones did a radio hit today and basically took a shot at Gene Smith in the Ohio State Buckeyes athletics department. We'll talk about that around the corner as well. 518-1410. Yeah, 518-1410. That's the number that you can call or shoot us a text. The same number, 518-1410, and weigh in on the conversation, or head to Facebook or to YouTube. Jump in on the live show there, and we'll interact with you. The Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Deb's constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating kept giving her grief. She talked to her doctor to get some relief. Deb had irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, which was a start. Saying yes to Linzess helped her do her part.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by Appy and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Get up to $3,500 today when you file your taxes at Jackson Hewitt. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Every pro is an MVP to us. As a Lowe's MVP's Rewards member, you can earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Then redeem them for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, e-gift cards, and more. Go in today to become a member and start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts and fees. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expired end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with peak long life universal premix antifreeze and coolant. Now just $6.99 after mail-in rebate. Plus, get 2 times O-Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name is Adam Barraga. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of Trust Link Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Dayton area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. With 10 freshly marinated, honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits, it's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Menards is your home improvement destination. We've got everything you need for your projects, from ceiling to floor. Why settle for a boring ceiling when there's so many acoustic and decorative options? Armstrong ceiling tiles are the best way to elevate your style to new heights. They're easy to install and add a great new look to your home. Right now, save big money on ceiling tiles. Plus, check out all the great deals going on now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting. We are excited to announce we are open and here to help with your tax preparation needs. We offer multiple options, both convenient and safe. You can drop off your tax return, upload it to our secure website, or call for an appointment. We have 5 locations in the Miami Valley and 1 in Columbus to serve you. No matter the situation, we're confident we can do the job right. Visit Laird'sTax.com or call 937-325-6571. Laird's Tax and Accounting, here for you to ensure continued confidence in your tax return.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So Shaw, a big Joe Burrow fan, he goes out and finds an article that says Bills quarterback Josh Allen will miss the Pro Bowl, but will play in a golf tournament instead. Well, Shaw, there's a reason that people that look like me and you golf all the time, no matter how athletic or unathletic we look. Doesn't take a whole heck of a lot. I mean, he's hurt. He can go play a football game. Of course, he's going to golf. It's a retirement sport. That's why. That's what people do when they retire. They go play golf. It doesn't take a whole lot of energy to do that. So there's that. But nonetheless, I do see your point. Brian Hetzel, he does the typical Deshaun Watson. Like, if I have an anti-Bengals opinion, you know this, being a Steelers fan during your time with Ben Roethlisberger, did the anytime you had an opinion bad about another team, someone just countered with a Big Ben joke about, fill in the blank?
Yeah.
Did that ever slow down?
No, it never.
No,
never,
it's going nowhere.
Forever. So
damn it.
You just got to deal with it. Or you can hope that Deshaun Watson has a Hall of Fame career and brings your team to Super Bowl, so you can.
Oh, they were on set. I'm fine.
Have that to lean on.
Man.
So I lucked out.
So, well, nonetheless. So, anyways, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show at 1410 ESPN Radio. But yeah, Brian Hetzel. I mean, like, that's and I can't counter to that. I don't want to highlight the inappropriate. I mean, I think it makes them look more silly than me. I mean, like the fact that you're comfortable making jokes about that type of thing. I mean, that says more about you than me. I mean, technically, but nonetheless, that's where we're at. But yes, I say, hey, I think your quarterback should play in the Pro Bowl, and you start making jokes about sexual assault. Yeah, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. I mean, come on, people. But anyways, but yes, I'm just like, does it ever stop? But no, it doesn't, apparently. So nonetheless. All right, Kev, there's a lot of stories that we wish we could spend more time on during the week, and we can't at times. But that's where this new segment, Kev Nash's The Hurry Up, comes in. So as we are off and rolling, Kev Nash brings us The Hurry Up.
You had more time. Well, we better hurry it up then. The hurry up.
All right, Kev, The Hurry Up.
Yes.
Explain The Hurry Up.
All right, the hurry up is basically a whole bunch of stories that I found across the world of sports that we just don't have a ton of time for because we're a ton talking about the NFL, other stories that are out there, but these are some cool stories that I thought everybody should be aware of.
All right, so let's kick it off. Story number 1 of The Hurry Up.
All right, speaking of time, last Wednesday, Damian Lillard dropped 60 points on the horse. I'm gonna start over. On Wednesday night, Dame Lillard dropped 60 points in the 134-124 win over the Utah Jazz. Dame made 21 of 29 attempts, including 9 of 15 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. That's a whopping 72%. He is just the 5th player in NBA history to score 60 points in 4 times in his career. That includes Wilt Chamberlain with 32, Kobe with 6, James Harden with 4, and Michael Jordan with 4. Lillard is in rare air.
Lillard in rare air. Another great scoring season on a bad basketball team.
He needs more help.
I know he wants to be like, and this is the thing. And by the way, his legacy is protected by the loyalty to the Trailblazers. The reason he doesn't get criticized the way other players do. I mean, James Harden, how many times you talk about a great scoring performance from him? People can't stand James Harden. The reason a lot of these players, they're not liked is because they hop around from team to team. That's their right to do it. That's how the NBA is today. The old school fans, in my opinion, I think that's why they dislike players. I don't really dislike Dame as much. I just know it gets under Kev's skin. But I think the one reason that, I look at Portland and I'm like, they're 24 and 26. They're just always a team that even when they're winning, you just don't really believe in. But because of his loyalty, I think he's always going to get that pass of not winning a championship. Not saying he won't win one, but it doesn't look likely right now.
He ain't winning one day.
But he's one heck of an offensive player. But I think that in today's day and age in the NBA, there's so many great offensive players. There's so many of these great scoring nights all the time. I do think that these aren't as shock and awe as they used to be. I'm not saying it's not an accomplishment. All I'm saying is I feel like this doesn't capture the attention of fans the way it used to, because every night I feel like we're talking about somebody just going off for some massive number in a game. It's not as rare as it used to be. But no, there's no doubting the talent that he is.
The thing, and I don't know why more people, and this would be ammunition for people that think this era is far better than whatever era you want to argue about, it is because of the efficiency of these players. When you hit 21 of 29 attempts and you're a 6'1" point guard, you're doing something right. And that's the thing about it that's eye-popping for me. I mean, that's 72%. That's Shaquille O'Neal. He's shooting threes at the same clip Shaquille O'Neal is making
Shaq, keep in mind, he's in the paint.
Dunking the basketball.
Not dunking, just dropping.
Yeah.
Just dropping it in.
So, those are the arguments that people should be making about why this era is better than any other era when you have an efficiency rating like this of 72% from the field. So, what a night. Number 2, USC names their track venue after Olympic legend Allison Felix. Allison Felix just finished up a 19-year track and field career where she competed in 5 Olympic Games, winning 11 medals, 7 gold, 3 silver, and 1 bronze.
So with this, again, I'm not a track aficionado, so I'm not saying I don't recognize this name, but I don't really have a hot take on this particular field of sports nonetheless. But the fact that you have they said they named it after her.
Yeah.
And she just retired. So it's not one of those you have to look back at an athlete from 20 years ago. I mean, I think obviously anytime I've always said statues, naming rights, there's so many great things to have your greatness be saluted and honored. Retiring jerseys is the worst thing in the world to me. I hate retiring jerseys, and you just forget about it. You forget about that. I love the but I think that's a really cool thing. You're always going to know that name.
Absolutely. Shouts out to her, man, because she left Nike because she was having a baby and Nike dropped her from her contract. She made her own shoe line and everything like that. She raising her daughter with her husband and just making a way for herself without the brand of Nike. And we all know how important Nike is to track and field, especially in the Olympic sports, man. So salute to her and her career and all that good stuff. Number 3, longtime basketball commentator and voice of the NCAA tournament for more than 30 years, passed away last Thursday. Billy Packer was 82.
Yeah, so that's one of those things that, I mean, he was just synonymous with the NCAA tournament too, and that's the thing that's crazy is like, so that's all I keep hearing are clips and just people sharing all of these things about his, and I'm trying to think, like, there are announcers today that I can't, like, for instance, like Kevin Harlan and guys like this, that when I watch the NBA, when I watch the NBA on TNT, and there are certain voices that I'm not going to be able to, if I don't hear that voice calling a basketball game, it won't feel the same.
Yeah.
It won't look the same. And I mean, look the same. To me, the sound of who's calling a game impacts how the game is visualized by me. As crazy as that sounds, went through it with Marty Brenneman a few years ago, leaving the Cincinnati Reds. Tommy Thrall does a great job, by the way. Like, I actually could keep the Reds game on in the background. You know, is he Marty? No, he'll tell you he's not Marty. But Tommy Thrall does a great job with the Reds. But anytime you have these historic voices like that, you know, they're always synonymous with an era of basketball, an era of a sport in general, not just basketball, but a sport that you tune in for. And there's a lot of great names calling games like that today.
So Billy Packer, one of his most memorable ones for me was the 1999 championship game. It is Duke versus UConn. It's UConn's first national championship team, and Richard Hamilton's on that team. So at the top of the key, Trajan Langdon has the ball. He's their All-American from Duke, shooting guard, and he tries to go one-on-one, and he gets the ball stolen from him. And all Billy Packer would say, he's going one-on-one. What's he doing here? That's not his game. And that stuck in my mind until draft night. And the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted him. And all I heard in my head was, he can't create off the dribble. He's just a shooter. And that's exactly what he was in his NBA career. What a horrible pick. Billy Packer saw it coming a mile away on that fateful night in April and March Madness in 1999.
Story number 3? Or was that 3?
That was 3.
That was moving on to number 4.
This is a very cool one. Milt Wagner, DeJuan Wagner, DJ Wagner are the first grandfather, father, son trio to be named to the McDonald's All-American games. Milton played for the Lakers in the Heat. DeJuan was a 6th overall pick for the Cavs in 2002. DJ is the number 2 recruit in his class and is headed to Kentucky.
What class is that? What year is that?
2023.
2023. First of all, that's a good family lineage right there. Obviously, you know, say what you want about DeJuan Wagner nonetheless, but remember him in college vividly. So the thing is, at
Memphis.
this point, you know, when you talk about this, for one, a real McDonald's All-American, by the way. Like, I love LeBron James, but Bronny James, like, come on, like it's like Tyler Huntley being named to the Pro Bowl. No, that's disrespectful to Bronny James. But well, you know, and going to Kentucky, you know what I also just read today? That Kentucky, that if they don't win an NCAA tournament game this season, that this will be the first 4-year stretch that in Kentucky basketball history where multiple classes will not win an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah.
So hopefully he could be a part of that turnaround. Hopefully Calipari's still at Kentucky. It feels like for the first time in a long time, his welcome is not as welcome, if you will. But nonetheless, hopefully he can go in and make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, what a cool story, man. I mean, that's just simply cool to know that, like you said, the lineage of their family continue to be in these NBA, to these McDonald's All-American games. His grandfather and father both played in the NBA. He could be headed there one day himself. Very cool. Speaking about Kentucky basketball, Chris Livingston. Remember Chris Livingston,
Yes.
number 1 recruit in Ohio? Yeah. Turned down Ohio State. He's getting a whopping, 15 minutes a game down there in Kentucky. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
A lot of people struggling over at the old UK.
Just thought I'd throw that out there, Chris. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh, Chris Holtman and company, they're not doing so hot themselves.
Yeah,
at this
true,
point, so.
true. Yeah, another freshman on that team. How they be playing. Story number 5, Georgetown. Georgetown Hoyas snapped their 29-game losing streak against Big East opponents last week, winning their game 81-76 over DePaul. The Hoyas are now 6-15, 1-9 in Big East at the time that I wrote this. Hurry up, but Georgetown, Patrick Ewing finally getting off the snide.
I mean, that's not getting up the snide, but it is ending the losing streak. This is why I'm always terrified when big name legends like Patrick Ewing go back to coach their alma mater, because you were hired to be fired. How he's still a head coach is, well, I know how it is. It's his name. By the way, like, it just stinks because he's a legend at Georgetown. Patrick Ewing is a legend at Georgetown. And now it's like when he is finally let go from Georgetown, that's going to be the lasting memory you have of that all-time great. I am not a fan of when guys go back to coach their alma mater because the chances of it working out are very, very slim. Right now, you look at Anthony Grant at Dayton, there's been some really, really great years, and then there's some stretches where you just are like, oh, man, this is not going to end well. We know how close-knit the Dayton Flyer community is, but what it was such a passionate fan base and such great memories for Anthony Grant, and he's going to have great memories during his time as a coach here at UD. I'm not saying he's close to being fired, but you're hired to be fired. And unless Anthony Grant goes on to coach the next 10, 15, 20 years and retires on his own or resigns on his own, it's going to be a sad departure for him when he, when his time at Dayton comes to an end. It's going to be the same thing with Patrick Ewing. Why hasn't that worked? I mean, you would think that's, the difference is, Anthony Grant, very, very good Dayton Flyers player, but Patrick Ewing, a legend at Georgetown. If Patrick Ewing, a former legend at Georgetown, cannot get guys to commit to come play there for him, what else can you do? I don't know. Georgetown basketball is not what it was when I was growing up, and definitely not what it was when previous generations were growing up.
That name isn't ringing out. That name isn't ringing bells because these guys weren't alive when Patrick Ewing played in the NBA. Patrick Ewing is an assistant coach in the NBA for several years. That's just exactly what he was. There's a difference between being a guy that's immersed in AAU culture like a Penny Hardaway. Making that transition to come back to his alma mater from the NBA, obviously it's a head coaching job and you want to help out your alma mater and bring them back to relevance. But is Patrick Ewing's an NBA guy? So I'm not sure if it was ever going to work the way that people thought it was going to work. Like, oh man, Patrick Ewing's going to go ahead and get all these top tier recruits. Well, Kentucky has a ton of top tier recruits. How's that working out for them? I think there's a big transition going on in college basketball where it is about younger coaches taking over and being able to deal with younger players, because there's a situation going on with the team that I follow, Syracuse. Big time recruit, Benny Williams, a former 5-star guy. He's missed the last 2 games because he got benched because he hasn't been playing well. But the problem isn't the benching. The problem is Jim Boeheim, for lack of a better word, attacking Benny Williams in the press conferences. And people could say, oh, you got to have tougher skin and that and everything like that. You're talking about the 80s, 70s, and 90s. You can't treat people the exact same way as you did back then. So I think these older coaches are having a difficult time adapting to the new modern athlete. We see it in the NFL where all these hotshot young coaches come in, hit the ground running. The head coach for Philadelphia, second year, he's in the Super Bowl. And his press conference was a nightmare. And he used that to motivate the team. Like, hey, man, I'm not perfect. Look at this press conference. We're going to get over this together. So I think the older coaches are about to be, for lack of a better word, phased out or retired, like a Coach K and a Roy and everything like that. For these younger coaches that can relate to the players, that can communicate with the players, because that's what this game is really about. It's about communication. And I think that these older coaches really can't communicate with the younger kids anymore.
Yeah, and the one thing I've learned is that just because you don't like something, and I don't like a lot of things. I don't know if you guys have ever heard me complain, but when people say, well, you just can't coach these players anymore. That's not true. It's just a new way of coaching. And by the way, you're right. Like when people say things, so a matter of fact, well, these kids just can't accept coaching anymore. Well, okay, that's fine. And that's not going to change. So get over it.
Right.
So it's like, but I get where their frustration comes from. I still love the old school coaches that scream at you and get on you when you make a mistake. And as long as you have that trust with that coach to know that he just wants what's best for you and all that, that doesn't exist anymore. So it's just a different era. It's a different time. It's not going to change. If you go to practices now, and I've been to a few high school practices around here where I'm like, look, I'm not a good high school basketball player. I'm not pretending to be. I'm not pretending to be an elite athlete or whatever. But we all know what coaching used to be like 10, 15 years ago. For practices for when I was in high school, watching some of these practices now, Kev, it's like, hey guys, let's go ahead and bring it down and we'll go ahead and run some shell drills. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we'll run some sets down here. It's just like a matter of fact. My goodness, if my coach I didn't even know my coach knew how to talk to you on a normal basis because it was just so authoritative. And that's not the wrong way to do it, but that's not how kids respond to today. So I could sit there and say, what is this? These coaches, they're babying these kids. Okay. And coaches that are babying their kids are winning state titles every year. They're winning their conferences every year. They're getting their kids and sending them to college every year. I think
especially at the high school level, I think there's something to be said about kids kind of know what they're getting into. with the high school coaches. There's some great high school programs around the area. I think high school coaches can still be a hard ass on their kids because, hey, man, you know what you're getting into.
Have you ever cussed on this show?
I have.
I don't remember. I don't know, dude. Like
I've said ass a couple times on the show.
Ooh, you said ass twice. And continue. It's when I cuss. It's one thing. But
We're getting spicy on the show today. But I think in college, where you as head coach, one, you have to woo said big time recruit to come to your school, or your assistants are wooing them. They're getting the best version of you. They're getting the old jolly, good old Jim Boeheim, haha, jokester, hey, cool Jim Boeheim. But once we get in practice and once your name is signed on that dotted line, if you're not rebounding like a maniac, if you're not shooting the three at a high clip, he's going to be on you. He's going to be on you. And that's not the guy that you met when he recruited you to come from Baltimore or New York to come upstate New York. That's not the same guy. But you as a high school kid playing at the middle school level and playing on the freshman level, and then you see like how he is, that head coach at the high school. So I think they know going into it. But you're right. It's a totally new era. So if players have to adapt to the new way of basketball, the coaches have to adapt to the way they're going to coach them as well. It has to be a same, like a 50-50 type of situation.
And that is the hurry up. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, again, Cardale Jones did a radio hit earlier today on the Fan over in Columbus. Called out Gene Smith, called out the Ohio State Buckeyes. No, this is not a repeated. Oh, it sounds like it's a repeated segment from weeks and weeks and months ago. But the problems that we had discussed with the athletics department and Gene Smith and their acceptance of name, image, and likeness, not that they haven't accepted it, but their approach to it has been a little interesting. We're going to talk about Cardale Jones' comments on the Fan of Columbus when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hottest ticket in town on Wednesday, February 1st, for the first time ever. Oh, wow! AEW Dynamite and Rampage make their way to the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. This promises to be one of the biggest shows of the year. Don't miss Ohio's own Jon Moxley.
Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell.
The AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm a generational talent.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Saraya.
I am the revolution.
Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jamie Hayter, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaimed.
Everyone loves The Acclaimed.
Hook, Hangman Page, Jade, Tony Storm, Adam Cole. The Lucha Brothers, Wardlow, Darby Allin, Sting, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society.
And that's entertainment.
And many more will be there live.
Look at this. Oh, my God.
Don't miss AEW Live at the Nutter Center. Tickets are on sale now at AEWTicket.com. Cards subject to change.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Oh, want better visibility to get you through the winter? A new pair of premium wipers can help. Right now, you can earn a $10 bonus reward when you buy a pair of Rain-X Quantum Wiper Blades. See better and stay safe on the road all winter long. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
Still overpaying for a razor? In this economy? Gross. At Dollar Shave Club, you can get a top shelf shave at a regular shelf price. We've been hawking shaving products for years online, and we're excited to bring you the same great quality and low prices at a store near you. From high-quality stainless steel blades to super smooth shave creams, Dollar Shave Club's in the business of making your shave easier. Find Dollar Shave Club in the men's razor aisle. Getting your Dollar Shave Club razor wherever you want. Isn't that great?
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you...
Now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So earlier today, Cardale Jones was on a radio show on The Fan in Columbus and basically called out Gene Smith and the athletics department for still, even to this point, continuing to not support the collectives and to still be a thorn in the side of them. Like it's almost become like they are adversaries now, which again, if we're trying to make, to be fair, I'm not defending Gene Smith and the Buckeyes, but like at the same time, both have initiatives that really don't impact us a whole heck of a lot. Both have jobs to do to make sure that we as fans are continuously watching a great product out on the field. But at the same time, it's not our battle. It's not our side to pick. And if we are forced to pick, I'm not sure which side to pick, Kev. But Cardale Jones just said on The Fan that, and I'm sorry, I said The Fan over in Columbus. I meant The Fan in Cleveland. My apologies. Okay. So on The Fan over in with Anthony Lima. Anthony Lima used to be over there. Now he's with The Fan over in Lima. His name is Anthony Lima. In The Fan in Cleveland. My apologies. Wow, brutal segment here.
It happened.
Yep. Cardale Jones just said on The Fan in Cleveland that their NIL collective has not had much support at all from Ohio State. Says that Florida, Alabama, and Texas are doing a much better job working with collectives to make deals for their student athletes. And I find that interesting too, because then Jay Book from Bucknuts, he tweeted out earlier today, what is it going to take for Gene Smith and the athletic department to, at a minimum, help the football team NIL collective? I don't get how much money you need. The department collected $60 million in booster donations, but Cardale Jones on the local radio saying that they cannot get any help. It doesn't make sense. Look, just trying to, connecting those two tweets right there, and just one's the initial reaction to Cardale Jones. The other one is just, asking a good question. Let me just ask you, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy here? And is there one?
There one.
There is in every story, but is there one here?
There isn't one, because Gene Smith's job is the Ohio State athletics program. Cardale Jones being a former Buckeye football player, and let's be real, all these collectives are really all about the football programs because the football programs is the ones that everybody watches and everybody cares about. There's a situation with Gene Smith, and I like Gene Smith. Gene Smith's been raked over the coals by a lot of different people before all this madness been going on with NIL, but he's responsible for the baseball team, the track and field teams. He's responsible for the lacrosse teams. He's responsible for every program under the sun at Ohio State. He's responsible for fundraising those things. And this is a major problem. This is a major problem that Ohio State and Gene Smith and the collectives can't come together and figure out what's going to be the end all be all. Because ultimately, like we talked about before, if we have Kenner and Kev's whatever business and we're millionaires and we donate to Ohio State athletics year after year, say we donate $2 million every single year to Ohio State athletics, and now this collective comes along, Ohio State's going to be still hitting us up for our $2 million. And we're going to be like, wait a minute, we're going to be giving $1 million to you guys and $1 million to the collective because we want to make sure that football team is A1. And then Gene Smith was like, well, come on, man, you got to stick with the Buckeyes, stick with the university. It's a give and take. It's a pull. It's a pull of the money. They don't want to give up their Rolodex. We saw that happen down at other schools. Go take a look at what happened with the University of Florida and their big-time recruit. He was promised X amount of dollars. X amount of dollars was not received, so he left, and he's going to ultimately end up going somewhere else. People can complain about NIL, and the only reason these schools are getting players because they're paying them. That is out the window. The thing is that Florida, the collectives weren't on the same page, and most importantly, the university wasn't on the same page as the collectives. So if those three parties, or at least two parties, aren't on the same page, that can happen to Ohio State too. So they meaning Ohio State and Gene Smith and all the collectives at Ohio State need to get on a Zoom, need to get on a Google Meet, need to go to a nice dinner and hash this out ASAP, like yesterday. They need to get it handled now, because not only is it a bad look, recruits see all this. Then they see Cardale Jones go on the radio, see what Jay Book tweeting. Like, man, is that a situation I want to get involved with? It was like a lot of back and forth. Man, Alabama, they seem to got their stuff together. Like, that's what Cardale said, basically, is you shouldn't come to Ohio State because we don't have our stuff in order. That's a recruiting pitch for the other schools that have their stuff in order. So would I prefer Cardale keep that in-house? Absolutely, because that's only going to lead recruits to go away from Ohio State. But ultimately, he can do what he wants, but they need to figure it out tonight. I'll go up there and help.
So what's interesting about this, in 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation if you'd like. But what's interesting about this is, again, Gene Smith he's coming across as the villain here. And I'm kind of taking Ohio State's side a little bit, but at the same time, there shouldn't be a side to take. But like any story or any kind of drama like this, you always have to pick a side. So Steve Stetler on Facebook, Kev, says, yeah, it's time for Gene Smith to go. Without NIL support, the Buckeyes will simply not be as good. But the thing is, Gene Smith, he's kind of operating based on what the pool of people he represents are kind of supporting as well. Like, I don't think this is a one versus all. I think this is a department mindset, which means even if Gene Smith was let go or left, whoever else comes in, it's like, do you see what I mean? Like, I think we're giving too much
answer to somebody at the top, the chancellor of the school, about there's other programs other schools out there that want to care about multiple sports. There's schools like that in California. Stanford's one of those schools. Florida State's one of those schools who cares about sand volleyball and all these sports that are Olympic sports and everything like that. But they've come to realize, like, hey, man, that's great and all. We'll use the athletic budget to handle that. But the collectives, we're gonna retweet collectives. We're gonna be all about our collectives. Every time one of our athletes scores a deal with a collective, we're gonna retweet it. We're gonna have signage up in our arenas. Hey, text 555 and donate X amount of dollars to this collective, that collective. Because more money that goes into that collective means there's more money to distribute to players to come into your school and to win games.
Interesting. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy and cold, a high near 28. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy and very cold, a low near 15. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy, a high near 32. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
On Wednesday, February 1st, for the first time ever, AEW Dynamite and Rampage make their way to the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. This promises to be one of the biggest shows of the year. Don't miss Ohio's own John Moxley.
Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell.
The AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm a generational talent.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Saraya.
I am the revolution.
Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jamie Hayter, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaim.
Everyone love the Acclaim.
Hook, Hangman Page, Jade, Tony Storm, Adam Cole. The Lucha Brothers, Wardlow, Darby Allin, Sting, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society.
And that's entertainment.
And many more will be there live.
Look at this. Oh, my God.
Don't miss AEW Live at the Nutter Center. Tickets are on sale now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
When I got the news, I was shocked.
I was scared. I was angry.
When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved.
I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is a firm that practices family law exclusively. We focus on only one area of the law to maximize our strength and effectiveness as advocates for clients that have everything on the line: their homes, retirement, savings, and most importantly, their children. We're the partner our clients count on. If we can be of help to you, give us a call.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Dayton area attorneys. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Who Dey Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Cordell Transportation is hiring third shift dispatcher / customer service representatives. Excellent pay, great benefits, no experience necessary, and paid training. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com or stop in today at 2942 Boulder Avenue in Dayton. Equal opportunity employer.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. AEW Dynamite will make its debut in Dayton tomorrow night at Wright State University's Nutter Center. John Moxley from I should say from Cincinnati, but he has a lot of history here in the Dayton area, known as Dean Ambrose, but during his time in WWE. But he's going to be on the show with us tomorrow. And Tony Khan, he'll make a second trip through on the show with us. I actually talked to him earlier today, and we'll have our conversation coming up around the corner as well. But nonetheless, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He comes up 19 minutes from now. We'll recap the AFC and NFC championship games. I know we spent all 3 hours on that yesterday. And, man, Kev, the officiating just still continues to be a talking point. I heard it on many national shows throughout, even today. And just the various opinions of how you could fix officiating. And it doesn't seem like there's anything particular that you could do outside of as far as being an immediate fix. But the one point I want to hammer home from yesterday, I feel like every time, can you think of a big game? What was the last big game you watched that the talking point was not officiating?
The one that comes to mind is, it's been a while ago, actually. So whenever that Super Bowl between the Giants and the Patriots was, where the helmet catch, and Plaxico catches a touchdown. That's like the last one that really sticks out in my mind. That was a close game that didn't have any type of
junior. That'd have been 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the only one. That's the one that's jumping to the top of my mind right now.
So 6, and that's just for Kevin. I'm trying to. The reason I ask this is because I think that the level of bad calls happened consistently across the board. It's just, if they're consistently bad across the board, they're consistently good across the board. But what makes a call good or bad is the leverage of the moment, the leverage, right. How big the game is. And that's why right now, Everyone thinks every time you go to a local high school game, college, UD in action tonight, you're going to hear, and they're playing a bad Loyola team, you're going to hear about officiating. You're going to hear people boo the officials. The officials are horrible tonight. Man, it's so uneven. They're not. And you hear it. But when we get to the NCAA tournament, is officiating only bad in March? We don't talk about bad college basketball officiating until we get to March.
Block charge, get ready.
Yeah, block charge. Yes, all that, the controversy. NFL
There's one
officiating.
in the Syracuse game last night that I wasn't a fan of.
There's plenty of bad calls every Sunday during the regular season for Browns-Bengals games that we kind of from time to time talk about, but we just kind of whatever. The only reason I feel like we are talking about bad officiating is because of the leverage of the moment, how big these games are. There's just more on the line. And again, I'm not excusing some of the mistakes the officials made this past weekend, but my goodness. But I feel like this is a talking point every year. Every year there is the officiating is the talking point. It's where rules are being changed, to where the league has to put out a statement saying these are things that the rules committee is really going to focus in on during their off-season meetings and yada, yada, yada. Rules have never been changed from a bad call in week 5 of the NFL regular season. It's always the NFL playoffs that leads to some of these rule changes. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I don't know what rule changes there could be. It's just we want better officiating.
Right.
But we don't know how to put it there. The problem is there's no metric. What metric is there to gauge what is good and bad officiating?
Right. Especially from a fan's perspective.
From a fan's perspective.
Because from the league's perspective, they see it one way to just follow the rules of the playbook or rule book. But as a fan, that's a bang, bang call. You got to swallow your whistle there. You don't ever see that. We're going to be fans. Fans are going to fan out. For me, the thing that I just recently learned was, and this is something I think could fix it, you have all-star crews. So you don't have the same line judge, back judge that was with his team throughout the entire regular season. You have the best line judge. You have the best of back judge or whatever. So it's not the same guys. So if the teams are expected to be a team all season long, I think we should start selecting all-star teams as a referee, like the best refereeing team, as opposed to, you're the best line judge in the NFL. You're the best side judge. You guys come together for the Super Bowl. No, let's pick whoever was the best as a group and have them do the biggest games as opposed to best individuals, because this is a team sport. So let's have a team of referees simply be whoever's graded the best. They do it as opposed to just simply you're the best at your one position on the field.
How many teams would you need though? Because think about I know how, again, high school is not the same. I completely get that. But I'll use college, for instance. When I'm at Wright State or UD games, every once in a while you'll be there and there'll be someone there evaluating the officials, and they go to different games every single night and they're evaluating different officials, and then they get these database of officials based on these grades and these evaluations, and then that's how they determine who is worthy of getting NCAA tournament games,
right?
And yada yada. So to do this in a way that then you would, so you're right, you create teams, but then just like anything in any other team environment, now we're going to rank the officiating teams. We got the worst officiating team this weekend, and then we're still going to be talking about that. But your point's not wrong. It's just there's always going to be some way to nitpick and find a way.
Right.
That's why it's hard.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many officiating crews there are in the NFL, so let's just pick a random number. All right, let's just say there's 20 officiating teams. And the NFL playoffs, only the 10 best officiating teams should be calling the playoff games, and the best officiating team or crew should be doing the Super Bowl. And then the second best should be doing the AFC Championship game, third best NFC Championship game, so on and so forth.
518-1410, 518-1410. Now that there's been an extra day between the AFC Championship game and now, of course, to just talk about officiating without it being the emotional reaction to what happened on Sunday. In my opinion, I do not think the officials cost the Bengals the game. I think that they made one too many mistakes. You let a quarterback with one leg get too comfortable. But kudos to that offensive line for the Chiefs too, by the way, for holding up against that Bengals pass rush, because that's not a bad Bengals pass rush. They just couldn't get to him. That's what the Chiefs invested in, was that offensive line. It's like, it is tough though, because what you invest in for 1 month of the season. That offensive line, the Chiefs invested in that offensive line, yes, to protect Patrick Mahomes for the duration of the season, but they did that for January. And then you see the teams now, to the Bengals' credit, they did invest into the offensive line. But, I mean, you added 3 good offensive linemen. You can clearly see when they only have 2 of the 3 how bad they get and how bad they get in a hurry. Like, I don't think that the Bengals, just because they spent a lot of money on the offensive line last year, Kev, you have 3 really good offensive linemen that you paid for. But, like, what's behind those guys is still so bad that led to the disaster that we saw this past week as well. Like, I know we want to say, oh, well, injuries are why that offensive line was banged up. Two guys. You have 2 guys out, Kev, and that leads to that mess. Like, I get it. Like, you don't have to have you're not going to have a ton of depth. You're not going to have a bunch of great guys, but my goodness, that's why I did not get too excited about what we saw against the Bills, because I think it was more the Bills playing poorly than the Bengals playing well, but those guys still deserve their flowers that day too. Don't get me wrong, but 2 guys out should not lead to that disaster. That's still a bad line, even with those 3 good players on that line, because the depth is an issue, and it came back to haunt them this past Sunday.
For me, I see a slight different way. In that Buffalo Bills game, they were able to run the ball. In this game, they couldn't run the ball. The best thing that big offensive linemen can do is go forward, and they were able to go forward and move the Buffalo Bills backwards. So that set up everything else. Like, all right, we don't have to drop back 40 times. We can drop back 25 times and take high percentage passes, swing passes to Chase, where he breaks a tackle and picks up 12 yards, and quick slants to T. Higgins and things of that nature. They didn't attack downfield versus the Buffalo Bills. Everything was quick game in this game. But they knew that they had to attack downfield versus the Kansas City Chiefs, because you got to put up points versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So their game plan was slightly altered because they couldn't run the ball. And that took away everything that they wanted to do, because the quick game is gone, because there's no RPO action in that, because they don't have to respect the run, because you can't run the ball.
Yep.
So that goes right back to Frank Clark Jr. and Chris Jones basically shutting down the run game. So for me, that's the biggest part. I think overall they played as good as they could, but it was just total nightmare for them, because they couldn't have that one thing to keep Kansas City off balance. When they know you're dropping back to pass, there's nothing you can do, because you can't run the ball. So they're going to drop back 30, 40 times. We're just going to come after you. And when you got a monster like Chris Jones in there, there's not too many things other people can do anyway.
That Joe Mixon did not play well. He didn't play well. The run game didn't play well. But, man, Joe Mixon's paid to be the guy in those situations, though. And that's what's unfortunate about what happened with that run game situation. Alan Hubler on Facebook says 3 starting linemen were out. Yeah, but they have 3 real offensive linemen, and that's the guys that they paid for. I know what you're trying to say. I know, yes, 3 starting offensive linemen were out, but let's be clear. That line was atrocious last year. You added 3 new names, and 2 of those 3 are out, and those 3 are really what helped turn things around with that offensive line. Jonah Williams being out, I mean, I guess he's a starter by definition, but I mean, what were you without? Like, do you think Jonah Williams would have made that big of a difference? Maybe slightly, but I mean, Jones was going to eat. He was going to knock over whoever was in front of him. Lyle Collins was your best hope, and that's who that behemoth of a dude not being out there was key. Oh man, how about this? I wish we need that. See, we're evolving as a show. We don't have a breaking news. Hit the bell like boom, 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 boom. All right. How about this? This is our generic small market breaking news alarm. But how about this? ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that this is breaking from about 5 minutes ago, that the Saints and Broncos are finalizing a compensation package in return for Super Bowl winning head coach Sean Payton. This clears the way for Payton to sign with the Broncos to become Denver's next head coach. And so Payton is expected to head to Denver as the Broncos' next head coach here very soon. Interesting.
Copy and paste the conversation we had from yesterday. Is Sean Payton worth it? Just play that audio.
I mean, it's worth it because Denver fans feel like they have a shot. And by the way, 518-1410, 518-1410, if you want to jump in on the combo, we'll have ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz be joining us about 8 minutes from now. So the timing on this is interesting. But is to expect Sean Payton, I think that this is actually a very bad move for Sean Payton. If I'm Sean Payton, I would have stayed in the media for one more. Steve, that's still showing an X. I'm not sure really what it's doing, but nonetheless. All right, 518-1410. While Kev attends to that real quick, but this Sean Payton news to the Broncos, I'm not sure what it means. What it does is they got a big name quarterback to go to Denver last year. Now they have a big name head coach to help try to manage all of this. But I don't know what Sean Payton, even if he comes in with the scheme, what's that scheme going to do to totally turn Denver around? They have so many other issues that go beyond just needing a new head coach. There it is again, Kev. I know, right as you stop. I mean, it just is what it is. They're in trouble. Denver still, I don't think that this fixes their problems, and I think that this is a problem for Sean Payton. Sean Payton had an opportunity to kind of sit back and wait for an opportunity to take over a team with an elite level quarterback, and I don't think that that's Russell Wilson anymore. Your thoughts on this move? It's a big name for Denver. I think Denver wins. I don't think Sean Payton wins here. Like, I think this is a problem for Sean Payton, and this isn't a shot at Russell Wilson necessarily, but there is nothing about what we saw last year to make me think that all of a sudden magically he's going to return to his old ways, but maybe he does. But I can't think of scenarios where quarterbacks just disappear and play not just bad, but bad. I mean, he was bad, Kev. That wasn't
Horrible.
just like, Denver played bad and his numbers weren't good. You could argue that they were as bad as they were offensively because of him at times. So I don't know. Maybe it was just an off year. Who knows? But I think this is a dangerous move for Sean Payton, but is what it is. I thought there would be more jobs open for him, and not a lot of teams got desperate enough to pull that trigger.
I don't think it's a bad move for Sean Payton. I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day as a coach. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. I'm sure that the Walmart family is about to open up the checkbook for him.
Yep.
A lot of M's on that check he's about to get. So seems like a win-win for him. It also seems like a win-win for the New Orleans Saints as well, because they're going to get fairly compensated with draft picks. So what's an easy way to rebuild your roster? Draft picks. Cheap, better football players than you got on your football team right now. So I'm waiting to see, here it is. Compensation. 1 minute ago. Compensation. Denver's first round pick from the 2023 draft and next year's second round pick will go to the Saints.
Hold on, time out. They got a first round pick for Sean Payton.
Saints winning, bruh.
Good for the Saints.
Saints winning, bruh.
Repeat what they got. They got a first round.
Denver's 2023 first round pick and next year's second round pick for Sean Payton, and the Saints 2024 third round pick.
That is desperation. Denver's desperate. But they were already in the hole because of Russell Wilson. Now they're going to go in the hole because of a head coach. And by the way, this is because of the financial strains that they have, ties that they have to Russell Wilson, they can't move on from Russell Wilson because he has all that guaranteed money. So you cutting him does nothing other than you're just paying. It's like now you're going to be like a baseball team, paying guys for years to come. That doesn't make sense. And then now you have a head coach that you just gave up a ton to get. So when the team's losing, this team is the worst team in football, Kev, because when this team loses, you can't get rid of the quarterback and you can't get rid of the head coach now. You can't get rid of either of the two that teams love to quickly move on from anytime they want to make the fan base feel like, all right, we're just going to hit reset and we'll be back in this in 2 years. So one great thing about football, you can hit the implode button and start over and be back within 2 years. That's the great thing about the NFL that separates it. That's one of the many reasons why it's better than a lot of the other sports. But the Broncos can't do that because they're financially married to him. They cannot move on from Russell Wilson. And when it comes to Sean Payton, you're not going to – he's their next head coach for at least the next 3 years. But Denver is going to be a bad football team for 3 years now unless Russell Wilson rewinds the clock. I don't understand why. I don't know. None of this makes sense, but that means he's about to get paid.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out what picks these are, like number-wise. Give me a minute.
So, nonetheless, let's see. David Greenfield on YouTube. He said, that's right, Kev. I think this is from a few moments ago. Kev's right about a lot, so we'll just chalk it up to everything. But Mixon had a very good game against the Bills. Oh, so earlier when you were talking about that. But then David Greenfield said, Justin and Kev, do you expect the Bengals to lose Higgins? Higgins is not a free agent this upcoming offseason, but what he is a guy that has 1 full year of control left, that if Cincinnati decided to want to free some things up, they could trade. I don't see that. T. Higgins is a Bengal in 2023.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that's not going to change. I don't think he's a Bengal past 2023. The only way that happens is if Burrow decides, the guy that's too good for the Pro Bowl, the guy that, no. But if he decides to take a significant pay cut, and significant enough to the point where they can afford T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I don't see him being with the Bengals after next season. I see he's a Bengal in 2020. I think the Bengals are going to go all in for 1 more year, Kev. like as far as taking advantage of the flexibility they have with these contracts. Your 3 best players are all on rookie deals. You are not paying Joe Burrow right now. You are not paying T. Higgins or Jamar Chase right now. And what I mean by that, you're not paying them. You're getting elite level quarterback for pennies on the dollar. You have 2 number 1 wide receivers for pennies on the dollar. You are paying 3 guys that are worth combined $110 million on all rookie deals that all don't even equal 15 mil. So to me, the Bengals have to go all in. They've been going outside of their comfort zone the last couple of years with what they've been doing, but they got to not just draft well, they got to spend and go spend stupid money, take advantage of the expanded cap and everything like that. Like they have to go all in. I think it's their last year to be able to have a lot of fun and have depth on both sides of the ball, like what the Eagles look like this year, what the Niners look like. The Bengals have another year to do that. After that, then they have to get real creative, and I don't think they're going to be as effective. So they have to take advantage of this year coming up. I think that they'll be there. That's for sure. So nonetheless, what'd you find?
I haven't found anything yet. They're varying about because it's got all the upcoming trades in there. So I'm trying to figure out if it has the updated trade with this that just went down.
I just got a text from a friend that said, are the Broncos the dumbest franchise in the history of the NFL? I don't think to be fair, I don't think they're the dumbest franchise in the NFL because a year ago when they got Russell Wilson, that looked like a great trade, Kev, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this whole Denver was dumb for doing what they did to get Russell Wilson. Like, anyone, if Cleveland would have got Russell Wilson, I would have been chirping, right? If the Steelers, because the Steelers were kind of a long shot team, but if the Steelers would have got Russell Wilson, you would have felt great about it.
I felt bad.
Broncos fans felt great about it. And I don't think it was a bad move. They wanted to go get a legitimate franchise quarterback, and they felt that they did that. But I don't think what they did to get Russell Wilson was desperation last year. I think what they just did to get their coach is desperation. That's what's going to be difficult for them. But yes, they're coming across pretty silly right now. That's for sure. We have time for one call before we get to Jason Fitz. Kev, who we got?
We got Reggie.
What up, Reggie? I hate to limit your time, but we only have about 60 seconds. What do you got for us?
I got you, sir. First off, thanks, guys. Man, I listen to you guys as much as I can.
Thank you.
I played football for 15 years, from elementary school to college. I didn't play at the pro level. But in saying that, I've seen just about every referee crew out there. I think there's 2 sides of this, the Bengals game. One is the Bengals didn't play their best game, right? The other side is that the officiating played more of an impact on a conference championship game than they should have. But in saying that, I think most people gloss over the fact that both can be mutually true. The Bengals, obviously, their struggles with the offensive line and officiating was pretty rough. And I think both those 2 combined can kind of create a situation that, it sort of builds the fans up to feel a certain way. But, I think everyone should just keep in hindsight 3 years ago, if you would have said the Bengals are going to play in back-to-back AFC championships, go 1-1 in Arrowhead, and we have a bright future for the next 7-10 years, I think everyone would have took it without a heartbeat. So,
I would have laughed at you. I would have, and I did, because some of y'all weren't telling me, and I wasn't listening to you. I was laughing at all of you. Like I said, January is crow eating season for me. Even with the Bengals loss, I'm still having to admit that this is a very good football team. No, they're fine. It was an unfortunate ending, but they have another year of full financial flexibility where they can go all. If they want to be aggressive this offseason, they could do it. It'll be interesting to see if they do. So, nonetheless.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Reggie, appreciate you. Next time you call, we'll give you more time. Sound good?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Take care. All right, good stuff. 518-1410, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He's going to join us coming up on the other side. Did you find anything else, Ken?
Looks like the Saints now have the 30th pick in the first round. They would have been drafting in the top 5, but they traded away that pick.
So it's
to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is playing in the Super Bowl, got the 5th overall pick.
So you have Denver. So technically they gave up a first rounder, but that's almost like a second round. But still, I think it's still a lot.
But they weren't drafting in the first round. So they got back in the first round for a coach that wasn't coaching.
And there you go. So it's still, the Saints won this. No doubt. That's for sure.
They don't have to pay him, and he didn't coach this year. They got 2 draft picks for him. Winning.
ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hottest ticket in town. On Wednesday, February 1st, for the first time ever. AEW Dynamite and Rampage make their way to the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. Page and listen to the play. This promises to be one of the biggest shows of the year. Don't miss Ohio's own John Moxley.
Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell.
The AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm a generational talent.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Saraya.
I am the revolution.
Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jamie Hayter, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaim.
Everyone loves the Acclaim.
Hook, Hangman Page, Jade, Tony Storm, Adam Cole. The Lucha Brothers, Wardlow, Darby Allin, Sting, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society.
And that's entertainment.
And many more will be there live.
Oh my God.
Don't miss AEW Live at the Nutter Center. Tickets are on sale now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. Love your results or your money back. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
At Staples, you can count on every project being print perfect, guaranteed.
I need presentations and brochures printed, and they have to be perfect.
Your bounded presentations, brochures with the finest folds, and more will be done right every time. That's our Print Big promise. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more, plus 20% back via store bonus. Try Staples and see the difference. Ends 2/25. Rewards members only. Bonus must be redeemed in store. See staples.com/stores/printbig for details.
Everyone knows that time is money. Go to Jackson Hewitt today for up to $3,500 with a no-interest, no-fee tax refund advance loan. For eligible clients, loans via Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba, a 50-yard scoring strike from...
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So the Broncos just, they're finalizing a deal to acquire Sean Payton, the coaching rights from what we thought to be retired head coach Sean Payton from the Saints. And the Saints gladly said, sure, we'll take your first-round pick from the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos gave up how many picks, Kev? Two? A first-rounder and a
second-rounder from next year.
For next year. Not bad. I think that's a lot. You put more value in draft capital than in actual dollars, especially since a head coach's salary does not go against the cap. So I think that is interesting. I think that Denver giving up that first rounder, which technically they didn't have, correct?
Right. They the Saints. No, wait. Yeah, they had it. I'm confusing myself.
Yeah, my bad. I confused you. I'm talking all over.
So the compensation again is Denver's 2023 first round draft pick, which is number 30 overall, and next year's second round pick for Sean Payton and the Saints third rounder in 2024.
Interesting. By the way, did you see? Never mind. I don't know if that's allowed to go over there, so I'll just keep that between me and you. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Nonetheless, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's see. AEW is reaching out Tony Khan about tomorrow's event. John Moxley against Hangman Page. For those of you who follow the wrestling world, I know Kev Nash just jumped in his seat. Cannot wait. Nonetheless, but I'm pretty excited. Every wrestling event I've ever gone to has been all WWE. I've never gone to a non WWE event. So I'm really curious to see how this is a big time promotion too. First time AEW coming to Dayton. Appreciate them and what they've been able to give us to kind of help push their stuff as well. All right, joked with the caller earlier saying that it's crow eating season, but it's not crow eating season, Kev. It's tax season.
Indeed.
Tax season. And our friend Michael Maxwell over at Arrowhead Tax Service, he's taking care of my taxes, Kev's taxes. Well, me and my wife, you and your wife, and as well as Keith Byers and his wife. He's taking care of us all here at WING. So we appreciate Michael Maxwell at Arrowhead Tax Service. And we highly encourage everybody, for those of you who don't, if you already have someone that does your taxes, we're not asking you to up and leave that individual. Keep your business with them. But if you're like a lot of people who are sitting there saying, man, I never know who to take my taxes to every year. I promise you, I've been going to Michael for 5, 6. No, man, I've been here for a while. This is your 8. Every year I've been here, I've gone to Michael. And the reason I know that it's been 8 years is because the city of Kettering decided to tell me, that, hey, you haven't paid your taxes in 5 years. I was like, Chrisley knows best over here. Actually, no, that's kind of different. They're still running his show, by the way. That doesn't make any sense. I was watching wrestling last night, and right after Chrisley Knows Best came on, I'm like, he has to be the only guy in prison that still has a show that is being my ADD. You see what Kev works with every day. Focus, kidder. So Kettering said, hey, you didn't pay your taxes since 2016. I'm like, that's not true. I have all my proof right here. Michael Maxwell, he went back. He helped me go through all of my tax history. We got everything printed, sent to the city, and bada bing, bada boom, everything's taken care of. He's a big time resource. I appreciate his help and the work that he does, and everything that he does, of course, is about giving back to the community as well. So keep that in mind. Every paid return, a portion of that he gets, of course, goes back to the community. He also gives 25% off to all military veterans and first responders. And he does love to remind everybody that he loves to take the stress out of tax season. Call him for a free estimate. Michael Maxwell, Arrowhead Tax Service over in New Carlisle, 937-543-5770. Now you're probably saying New Carlisle. Oh, that might be a little far. That's fine. You could actually use the Taxes to Go app that you can send all of your information to him without having to go all the way in. I think that's pretty exciting. That's pretty cool. So make sure you take advantage of that. One more time, Michael Maxwell, Arrowhead Tax Service.
Yeah, I referred a couple buddies of mine to him recently because I know a lot of DJs in town. A couple of my buddies, they drive DoorDash, so they're independent contractors, they're entrepreneurs. He can handle all that, as well as people that work W-2 jobs as well. So, anything tax related, he can get squared away for you guys. Like I talked about yesterday, last year was my first year working with Michael, and everything was a smooth process because, I'm not going to front. I was one of those guys that used to do my own taxes, use whatever tax app out there, and, might be fudging the numbers here, numbers there, until I realized, what, I'm a grown man. What if I get audited one day? That won't be a good look. I won't have any of the answers. So I'll let a professional handle that. And that's why I hit up Michael.
All right. Again, call for your free estimate today. Michael Maxwell, Arrowhead Tax Service, 937-543-5770. All right. So ESPN's Adam Schefter, busy guy. Someone just said in the comment section, man, Adam Schefter, he's busy right now. He is busy. He broke the news, of course, about the Denver Broncos landing or getting a deal done with the Saints to finalize bringing over Sean Payton. But we have other head coaching news, too, in the NFL, Kev. The Houston Texans got their guy.
3 in a row.
3 what in a row?
3 brothers in a row.
Yeah, that's it, like yesterday when I said, for the first time ever, there's brothers in the Super Bowl.
No,
siblings.
No, all seriousness, DeMeco Ryans, the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, is the new head coach for the Houston Texans, about to ink a 6-year deal to be their head coach. My question for them is, obviously, he knows the defensive side of the ball. He's a defensive player in the NFL. I believe he played for the Houston Texans, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. I think he was an all-pro for them.
Almost
Rookie of the year. I think he was Rookie of the Year for them.
So there's a connection there. But I wonder who he's going to take with him from the San Francisco 49ers staff offensively, because that's what happens. Guys go ahead and pick from the tree. So is he going to be taking the quarterback coach and making them the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans? That's important to me because that could be a potential landing spot for one CJ Stroud.
And actually, I think that's the kind of coach, too. You bring him in and just coming in from the coaching pedigree that he was a part of over in San Francisco, going to bring in some stability. That's not a shot at Lovie Smith and I always forget Coley, the coach before. But again, coming from a stable franchise like that, and Ryan just being very well respected from around the National Football League to begin with, the thing is, we always say, man, you got to be careful. These guys, these coaches that take these jobs know way more about it than we do. He has to feel pretty good about it. And like I said, everything. And now the Texans, the perception of the Texans job is not necessarily the same as what the perception of the Bengals was years ago, because there's other elements involved with why the Texans job is a little dicey, especially if you're an African-American coach looking for a job, just because the last 2 years you hired guys knowing you weren't going to win and then fired guys because they didn't win. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't a good look. And I've always said too, I feel like at times the Houston Texans, they hire African-American coaches just to say that they check that off. And I was like, I think that's wrong. I think that that's not, for as much as, the NFL is fighting, or I shouldn't say the NFL, but that people are trying to fight for the NFL with their hiring practices. Sometimes the way Houston goes about it almost derails the whole form of progress to begin with. Like saying, well, we hired African-American coaches. You're still not doing it for the right reasons. And you didn't do it in a way of good faith, of giving them a legitimate opportunity to win football games. But hopefully Ryan comes in and is given every opportunity to win. Years ago, the Cincinnati Bengals reviewed it as a joke of an organization, and that who would want to go coach there? Who would want to go play there? That's why there was so much talk when Joe Burrow was drafted by them. Man, is he going to pull an Eli Manning? Should he stiff arm them? Should he just threaten to, hey, I'm not going to, someone else come and get me, come and save me, right? Well, guess how wrong me and everybody else was that was kind of floating down that river a little bit. I was very, very wrong, because sometimes I do believe that, yes, organizations, I don't think that the Bengals organization is all of a sudden one of the most well-run football franchises in football, but they have hit on a lot of good decisions over the last 2. Can Houston, and by the way, I'm a sports bettor, and I miss on a lot of my bets lately. If you notice, I haven't been bragging as much, but sometimes there's stretches where I'm like, man, I'm hitting on everything. Okay. And guess what? I'm going to be bragging again. Doesn't make me a good sports bettor. It just means I'm on a hot streak. I don't think the Bengals are a great organization. I think they're on a hot streak right now. They have a chance to retain this and keep it going. But years ago, it took Joe Burrow coming in, a guy that, I love to criticize, right? I can acknowledge the fact that Zach Taylor wasn't Zach Taylor until he got Joe Burrow. And DeMeco Ryan comes in with the reputation, unlike Zach Taylor, who no one really knew who he was. DeMeco Ryan can come in, get a CJ Stroud, hire a great offensive coordinator. The Texans could take off. And I think a year from now, Kev, 2 years from now, we might forget about how uncomfortable this organization made a lot of people feel. But keep in mind, it's not going to change the fact that Houston is still not the best organization. Right. If the Chicago Bears, by the way, go on this season to win a lot of football games, let's say they win 9 to 10 football games, and Justin Fields has that breakout season. Some say it was this past year, but I think until we see the arm take off, I think we've yet to see I don't think we've seen the best of him. I don't think we've come close. I think there's a chance we could see an extra level of Justin Fields this year. So if he succeeds and the Bears succeed and they win 9, 10, 11 football games, are the Bears a great organization all of a sudden, Kev? No, I just think winning heals all, and it covers a lot of holes. We'll see what happens. But the only way the Texans can turn things around is by winning football games, and that starts with hitting on their quarterback in the draft, and it could be CJ Stroud. We'll see.
Absolutely. DeMeco Ryans, 6 years with the Houston Texans, winning Rookie of the Year in 2006 and was first-team All-Pro in 2007, played 4 years with the Eagles after that.
Interesting. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Sorry, I got to stop reading emails. Like, by the way, I don't get emails all day. Something about from 3 to 6. That's when everyone wants to reach out to ask a bunch of a million questions. Nonetheless, is there any other NFL news that we have missed?
I haven't seen anything because I was checking the email myself.
Trying
to get that graphic made.
But I thought Harbaugh was going to Denver. I was told to sleep with one eye open. Maybe stop believing everything posted. What, Kev? Like, why does he push my buttons? And I'm trying to be better. I'm trying so hard, but he irks me, Kev. Like, why does everything I say he has to take and spin it into maybe you shouldn't believe everything you say? If I read something and I repeat what I read to you, which is a tweet of, hey, that they are actually going hard after Sean Payton or Harbaugh, how does that make me wrong for reading that? And who says they were going hard after Harbaugh? I never told you to sleep with one eye open. I don't care where you sleep. As long as you don't sleep anywhere near me, just keep it over there. I have no clue.
Well, for an organization, you need to interview multiple candidates. You need to be seeing what's up with multiple candidates. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, because that coach, especially a coach with the pedigree of a Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton, they got options. They could turn you down. You could offer them the job like, no, I'm going to stay on TV. No, I'm going to stay at Michigan. No, I'm going to take this job with the Carolina Panthers. No, I'm going to take it with Houston, Texas, because they got a whole bunch of draft picks and they got a cool quarterback that I'm about to draft and make him the next so-and-so. So they could turn you down. So as an organization or a team, you got to interview multiple people just to see who's interested in you.
But yeah, so, and nonetheless, by the way, and while we're on the subject of Harbaugh, it was interesting. I've never seen a coach. I'm not going anywhere. I might be going somewhere. I'm not going anywhere. I might be going somewhere. I'm not going anywhere. Kev, he almost divorced Michigan 3 times in one offseason. That's pretty damn impressive. And by the way, the NCAA stuff still hasn't been all figured out.
Oh, with the hamburger or the thing with the assistant coach?
Well, that too. But yes. Yes and yes.
Yeah.
And one might be a bigger deal than what we are anticipating. Who knows what's going to... The hamburger thing is silly, but it's still an investigation that, he's also making a bigger deal. Everyone says we're overblowing it, but he's also making it a bigger deal, but not working with the NCAA. He lied to begin with, so we'll see what happens.
See what happened with Tressel when he lied about the tattoos. I mean, just it's a hamburger, and we can talk about it's just a hamburger, and I could be complaining about the things that happened at Baylor being a level 2 offense and the hamburger being a level 1 offense. I can complain to the sun sets, but it is what it is. I don't make these rules at the NCAA. They kind of pick and choose when they're going to enforce them and not. My big thing is that'll be resolved. I won't say a slap on the wrist. Maybe he'll get suspended a game or two, but with that tough non-conference schedule they got, they'll be perfectly fine without him. They'll be fine with me and you coaching the game. Not that I want bad news to come out about this whole situation with the offensive coordinator and the computer. I'm just curious because that's weird. It's weird reports going on. Won't be repeating them until it's absolutely final about what he's being charged with. I hope it's the latter. I hope it's the stuff about possible as like pyramid schemes. I pray that's what that is all about, but we're going to find out one way or another.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up here in hour 3, we'll touch on some of the stuff we did to open up the show. But while we have a couple more minutes here, Kev, the NFL today, Matt Bowen, ESPN staff writer, released the top 50 NFL free agents. And I'm not going through all of these. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in all of them. However, I do find this list a little interesting just because as we head into the offseason now, and by the way, the salary cap's been raised to like $224 million or something like that, or something wild. And a lot of teams, the Bengals are going to have money to spend. The Browns are going to have money to spend. By the way, this is rare where we're sitting here in January. This is the second straight January where the Browns and Bengals fans, we're not talking draft. Pretty exciting, right? Like, I don't know. I kind of missed that. I kind of missed the draft talk, Kev. I kind of missed the wide receiver versus offensive lineman. What quarterback is the Browns going to take? I mean, I kind of missed that.
Don't draft him. Draft him.
So reports came out today. You sent this earlier to me, but the number 1 free agent, according to this list, is Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson.
No.
But it does sound, at 26 years old, by the way, entering this
He's getting up there.
season.
He's getting up there, man. 26, man. He's getting up there.
So it sounds like the Ravens are entertaining the idea of franchise tagging him. This is the exact story that played out in Dallas with Dak Prescott. And this isn't about comparing the talent. That has nothing to do with it. But this is the last time I remember a stalemate of this kind of negotiation tactic kind of leading to all of these extensions happening or whatever these options. Your thoughts, Kev, on if the Ravens do pull that off? Do they win? Does he win? What happened? I mean, he's going to get paid a lot of money in that 1 year, but at the same time, this is still just kicking the can down the road. And
right.
Fan of the Dallas Cowboys, that was a miserable time. That was a miserable time just waiting for that to get done because it's kind of hard to take off as a franchise for what direction you want to go in when you're just sitting on that money.
Short-term win for the Baltimore Ravens. It's a short-term win because obviously Lamar is going to play on that contract. He's not going to turn down what is going to be like $40 million for one season. He's not going to turn that down. Yep. You have to be a fool to turn that down. And from everything we know about Lamar, he's not stupid. So he won't be turning that down. He'll be signing that. Now, long term, we don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to be able to work out a deal? Because as we all know, the longer you wait, the more you end up paying.
Yep.
And that's what happened with Dak Prescott. That's why I didn't feel any sympathy for the Dallas Cowboys because they paid them like, $15 million more than they could have paid him before if they would have just paid him before. So same thing is going to happen with the Baltimore Ravens. They're either ultimately going to end up paying Lamar more in the long run or they're going to trade him. So it's a short-term win for the Baltimore Ravens.
So other names on this list, and again, some of these I just wish we knew like the full details. Like it's just a list of names. It doesn't say like, for instance, that Lamar, him being at the top, he's not a legitimate free agent,
Right.
Because
He's not an unrestricted free
it's
agent.
not unrestricted. But did you just hit your leg?
Yes,
yeah,
I
that
did.
sounded kind of painful.
Glad I didn't cuss.
Orlando Brown, the offensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, you just got to a Super Bowl with one wide receiver that had more tackles on special teams than targets on the season. I mean, that's what the type of talent that Patrick Mahomes is. He took, I mean, like I said, always give me the guy that does more with less than the guy that has every single receiver you could think of and still can't win a football game. I'm just throwing that out there. But Orlando Brown, Kev, they invested a ton of money into that offensive line. I have a hard time believing that they let him get away. Do you think he comes back to the Chiefs, or is he going to be a highly sought-after offensive tackle? He's only 27 years old. I thought Orlando Brown, I feel like he's been around the league for a long time, and he has. I think he's, heading into year 7 or 8, but he's been around a while.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Where does he end up?
He was a young rookie when he got drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore traded him to Kansas City for a first-round pick, kind of try to reset the clock, so to speak, because he was one of the best left tackles out there. I believe he's playing on the franchise tag this year. I think that he hits the free agency market and cashes in big somewhere else.
Yep, and it could be a team, like, keep in mind, the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a team like, well, Kev, your team ain't going to do it. Your team ain't going to do it. The Browns don't need it. The Bengals, I think that they're going to rely on just, maybe taking some more dudes in the draft, hoping they stick, and getting the guys that they paid for last offseason healthy and bring them into next season. I don't think that's going to have an impact on anyone. Could Baltimore bring him back? That could there be a reunion there? But he was one that they had to move off of him because they were anticipating this contract with Lamar. The one thing I'll say about Baltimore,
that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
they were already the chess pieces were moving. That's why those who say there's no way Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins goes anywhere, keep in mind the chess pieces, like now is where teams start having to manipulate their cap a little bit. I'm not promising Boyd or Higgins is moved, but like you see that all the time. The Dallas Cowboys, they didn't have to move on from Amari Cooper. The Amari Cooper move from last year, Kev, that was to set up for the contract hitting this season.
Right.
Like it was about this upcoming season. Like sometimes moves are made a year in advance from when they actually start to impact you because of the dates of which it's less of a cap hit and that type of thing. I'll be interested to see what happens with Orlando Brown. All right, Javon Hargrave, Kev. I mean, he's 30 years old. He's a freaking monster. His 17.2% pass rush win rate when he was lined up on the interior, ranked 3rd in the NFL behind Chris Jones and Malik Collins out of Houston. This dude could play, and you saw it already. He's been on full display already throughout this playoff run for Philadelphia. Like, man, that could be another get too. Cleveland has to decide, by the way, if they have enough money for one more big contract. Are they going to go after a wide receiver like Hopkins and try to get that, or are they going to load up on the defensive side to kind of put some more pass rushers in with their new defensive coordinator in place who loves the pass rush? It would be interesting to see if they go this route as well.
1, 2, 3 franchise tag.
Yep. On Philadelphia, they're about to pay. So I found out, with him being Jalen Hurts being a second rounder, I was trying to figure out the difference in the pay scales and how that, not pay scales, but the dates of when you could start. So he's eligible to be paid just like Joe Burrow is, but the difference is I didn't know this. You can't, like the Bengals, if they wanted to, could do the 5th-year option on Joe Burrow. You can't do a 5th-year option on a non-first round quarterback.
Right.
So the Eagles are going to have to get that deal done this season. So this may be a cap hit right there if they decide to move on. My thing is, once you get that Super Bowl, you can kind of let guys go unless you want to get like, oh, let's go for that 2-peat. But, that back-to-back. Daron Payne, the defensive tackle from the Commanders. He's 26 years old. A lot of pass rushers, Kev. A lot of pass rushers.
He's not going to be playing for the Commandos.
Nope.
He's not. I just got a feeling he's not. I think that he's going to hit the open market. I mean, everything that's going on with the Commanders, somebody's going to pay him a big bag, an enormous bag. Like, I'm not sure what team that is, but I think he's going to be playing elsewhere.
How about Geno Smith? He is ranked as the 5th top free agent in this top 50 free agent list. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, is Jacoby Brissett a free agent?
He is.
So Geno better, right?
I would take Geno.
I think so too. And I think I'm just I watched more of Jacoby and I thought he looked fine. He was a great quarterback for 3.5 quarters a game. It's just that in a close game, I wouldn't put my money on Jacoby, but Geno, I think, showed a lot of signs. But the number 5 free agent, I mean, I don't know where do you think he ends up? Because Seattle has the number 5 pick, Kev.
Right.
Seattle could end up with they could end up It's stupid how good Seattle's about to be because Seattle's about to load up on this quarterback and get a rookie deal. They're going to reset the quarterback contract. And for the next 4 to 5 years, they're just going to put all their money on defense, and they're going to keep Lockett, and they're going to keep, I always forget the big DK Metcalf. They're going to keep all those guys. And it's going to be interesting how all of that pans out. But that'll be interesting.
I know that's not the question you asked me what I'm about to ask you.
Oh, my bad.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Who do you feel more comfortable with? Geno or Jared Goff? Because those teams are basically kind of like in the same boat, right? The Lions and the Seahawks, even though the Seahawks did end up making the playoffs, over Geno or Jared Goff. Who would you rather have?
So I heard someone earlier today talk about Geno Smith, talking about his completion percentage. Keep in mind, they called it a very safe offense. Considering the years that Lockett and DK Metcalf had, it was a very safe offense. They weren't trying to just, they were safe throws. In basketball, it's called a high percentage shot. Well, they were going for high percentage looks. They weren't trying to really give him more than he can chew. That's nothing against him. That just means they managed him perfectly. He completed 69%, almost 70% of his passes. Joe Burrow, 66, 67% is an amazing number. This guy completed 70% of his passes. And by the way, in his QBR, about 60.9, which ranks 6th amongst all quarterbacks. He was a top 5 quarterback statistically this year, and that's what's crazy. But I don't think anyone watched the Saints or watched this. Why do I keep saying the Saints? Watched the Seahawks and thought, I'm watching a top 5 quarterback.
Right.
I'm not saying he is, but he's not as bad as what I think people have given him the label from being a journeyman over the last however many years he's been in the league. I would take him over Goff. But then again,
I'm taking Jared Goff.
What about Goff do you like?
I like the fact that Jared Goff takes the shot. He takes the downfield shot. He risks throwing interceptions. That's part of football, but you get more bang for your buck. Like you have DK Metcalf, and they rarely took deep shots with DK Metcalf. Like you said, their offense was relatively safe. It was a lot of drag routes, a lot of quick hitches, bubble screens and stuff like that. He executed it to 70+% completion percentage, but you don't get those big home run plays in the passing game doing that. This ain't college where you can bubble screen your way all the way down the field and score touchdowns. This is the NFL. Dudes make tackles left and right. You got to hit a big play. So I would go with Jared Goff.
And by the way, Goff too, and his completion percentage, you want that number to be as high as it can be. But is that a overblown stat?
No, it's not. It's especially with Joe Burrow. You talked about 65% this year. He's taking deep shots and he's completing them. Chase is coming down with jump balls against 2 dudes. T is coming down with jump balls, but it's the ability to put those passes in a spot where you can go get them. And it's the confidence to throw it up to those guys so they can go get it, because you can't dink. Well, I guess you can dink and dunk your way to championships as Tom Brady, but you got to be able to stretch the ball down the field, man. You got to be able to hit 30-yard plays. You can't 5 yards in the cloud. It doesn't.
And that's what separate. And Goff is capable of it, but not consistently. Same thing with Geno and some of these guys. Jacoby could throw a solid deep ball from time to time, but it's not like you're dropping them back to, your offense is setting them up for that 1 or 2 deep passes and hoping that they connect. Interesting nonetheless. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. If you want to reach out on the show, we're live on Facebook and on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. So make sure you go and check that out. All right. Let's see. 518-1410. Give us a call. Step away for a few moments. Tomorrow, what do we have lined up on tomorrow's show, too, just for those who are, I know our new set of listeners come in at the 5 o'clock hour, but is Jay Williams tomorrow? We have Jay Williams on the show tomorrow.
Yes.
We have Jay Williams on the show tomorrow and Max Kellerman, and then Keyshawn Johnson will be joining the show coming up on Thursday. John Moxley on the show tomorrow, AEW
ton of guests
wrestler, and then AEW's Tony Khan. I have that coming up this week as well. Lots talked to Pac-Man Jones. We had talked about getting him on, hopefully talk about the Bengals in the Super Bowl, but they're not in. But I chatted with him. He said he's still willing to come on. I said I'd be nice. I would talk about Burrowhead, not Arrowhead. Burrowhead.
Oh yeah. The other thing that we wanted to talk about, we want people to send their cap or no caps to the text line.
Text line 518-1410. We do our cap or no cap every Friday. It's the one segment a week where Kenner sounds cool. And if you'd like to contribute to cap or no cap, Well, all you got to do is send them in to 518-1410. It's the same number that you guys have been calling into for years. 518-1410. Text your cap or no cap. We'll be using those for later on in the week. And we'll make sure that we also, when we ask the cap or no cap, or we read the cap or no cap, we'll make sure we're giving credit to those who send that in. So send that in. By the way, we got bowling tonight. I'm loving this bowling thing. I had a great week last week. I'm not the best bowler, but I had a 195. I brought the bowling bag in. By the way, my car, the car died at the gas station. And Kev had to come bail me out. So I'm getting out of the, at Monroe, we take the car over there. I get out. I have my book bag, my bowling bag. I'm ready to go. Look like a kid with his lunchbox. I was like, I'm ready to go.
How heavy is your ball?
I think it's like a 14 or 15 pounds.
Oh, muscle. I
don't know. It's heavy. So by the third game, like by the way, I'm at the age now where I literally in that bag, I have ibuprofen in the bag. My hip, man, I got this bad hip. It's my planting hip. You could, I'm like, I'm in pain by the end, but yes, I'm not the greatest ball. But for me to have a 195, and a 194, my OCD, I was real pissed about being one pin off that 195 for that third game.
Are you a straight line bowler, or do you have like the guys that can kiss it against the railing and still like curve and hit the strikes?
So my buddy Nate, sometimes he does the 2-finger ball, sometimes he does 3-finger, but he's the one that he's the spinner. He starts on the left, throws to the right, and it whips back in. I mean, he's a whip and nay type of bowler.
That's how my father-in-law is. He's a beast. He averages like 280.
You were telling me this. That's like professional bowlers.
Yeah,
stuff.
He's a beast.
I'm happy about my 195, and like that's.
He gave me bowling tips one day, and I played probably the best game I've ever played. I probably bowled like a 180 that night. He was giving me tips, and nope, do it like this. And he tried to show me how to do the spin. It went right into the gutter. So I'm like a half throw it down the lane type of guy. Like I get like a 10-pound ball halfway down the lane, so it ain't doing a whole bunch of spinning.
So I throw on the far outside, and again, I don't remember all the terms. I grew up going to the bowling alley. My friend's grandparents owned a bowling alley. My grandparents always worked at a bowling alley. I grew up at the bowling alley. So I throw out in that far marker, and it whips right into the pocket. And just whips right in there. I'm having a good night. I got to get there. It's the Brew Crew League. We get a beer every single frame. Yeah.
Dang.
I don't think it's a coincidence that I get worse as the games go on.
Every frame?
Not every frame, every game.
Oh, about to say.
Damn.
Like, you about to be.
Ooh. Did I say frame?
Yes. I was about to be like,
damn,
man,
Marty,
like
I'm
showing
just getting
up
really excited
Let's
about
go.
this. Yeah, nonetheless.
Gonna need more than ibuprofen.
Hour 3 next. Ibuprofen.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine set broken bones, perform wound care, and remove bunions. Common health issues that they treat include ingrown or fungal nails, corns, warts, and skin problems like athlete's foot. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? To find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Are you ready for tax season?
Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton.